Bryan Dieu. I'm going to be explaining the Hydra today, which is in the kingdom Animalia and in the phylum Cnidaria. So as you can see, Hydra is an organism with stinging cells and a single gastric opening. The organism lacks true tissues, has true tissues, but it lacks organs. So as you can see, that this is the kingdom tree, and basically this kingdom tree is basically the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kingdoms of the basically organisms in life. So the first one would be archaea, and etc., bacteria, protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So each of these kingdoms has its own characteristics that distinguishes it from the other. For example, bacteria have a peptidoglycan cell wall, but archaea doesn't. So that's why they're not in the same kingdom. They're different and distinguished by itself. And so Animalia would be a mouth eater, and because Plantae makes its own food, it's not part of Animalia either. And same with Protista and whatever. They just have different characteristics that distinguishes it from the other. So in Animalia, this is the phylum tree. So it has Porifera, which are sponges, Cnidaria, which are jellyfish, flatworms, mollusca, which are like mollusks, snails, arthropods, and annelidas, which are like earthworms. There are also echinoderms, which are like starfish, and chordates, which are like humans. So the Hydra is in kingdom phylum Cnidaria because it has radial symmetry. It also has tissues, and it's multicellular. So one reason why it's in Cnidaria is because it has these little stinging things called cnidocytes. So that's why it's in. That's the one reason why it's in Cnidaria. That's like the key distinguishing feature of what makes it in this phylum. Alright, so some of the relatives of the Hydra include other relatives in the phylum Cubozoa, which are box jellyfish, like this. Hydrozoa, which are other hydroids. Scyphozoa, which are true jellyfish, which are like these Pacific sea nettles right here. Starozoa, which are stalk jellyfish, and and Anthozoa, which are like sea anemones. So one adaptation of the Hydra is that it's reproduction adaptation. So it's able to regenerate, which means that even if you like cut it in half, it won't die. It will keep on reproducing. It can just basically grow back to normal. So each piece cut from a Hydra will develop into a complete polyp. So because they're hermaphrodites, they can reproduce asexually or sexually, because they also have they have both sexual organs. So they can reproduce from eggs or by budding off the side of a parent Hydra. So this could include meiosis or mitosis, and they reproduce asexually in warm months, but sexually in cold months, because the eggs are able to like withstand colder temperatures. So they're basically immortal. They don't die of old age or anything, and they don't age at all. And they can reproduce in 3 to 4 days in favorable conditions, such as late spring or early summer. So this is an example of how a Hydra would bud off its parent Hydra, and this is the sexual reproduction, the method of how it creates more. So this is a growing or moving adaptation. So to grow, the Hydra attaches itself to the bottom of a pond or a water plant or a rock. It then would slide across with its cup-like foot, or it can somersault or pull itself using its tentacles, like that in this diagram. And this is a predatory adaptation. So the Hydra, basically, like other Cnidarians, would use its cnidocytes, or stinging tentacles, to catch food. So they catch food with these cnidocytes or tentacles and bring it to their mouths. And when they do so, the food that they have put in their body, it's digested in the gut, the nutrients are absorbed in the body, and the wastes are ejected out of the mouth. Another special adaptation is that they're able to stretch their tentacles 4 or 5 times the length of the body, so it's bigger than its own body, like 4 or 5 times as much. And when they eat the prey, they're able to stretch their body wall considerably to fit the prey into their stomachs. The whole process should take about 10 minutes. So this is another symbiotic. This is a symbiotic adaptation. It's a mutualism type of mutualism. So some Hydra, they have mutualism with algae. So basically, it eats the algae, and then the algae would produce photosynthetic products inside of the Hydra's body. So basically, both parties benefit because first the Hydra gets to get food from the algae, and the algae is protected from other predators in the Hydra. So in this photo, the Hydra is green because it just ate some algae. So yeah. So this is a gas exchange adaptation. It occurs across the thin epithelium, and basically the gut would serve as a circulatory system which distributes nutrients through the body. So the Hydra don't have blood or a heart or anything because it doesn't have organs. So the whole gut or the whole body of the Hydra would act as a way of respiratory system. So that's how they breathe or get oxygen or gas exchange, basically. So in Hydra, they play a role in the ecosystem by acting as a secondary consumer. They eat stuff such as plankton or what is that? They eat like fleas, water fleas. So they eat other primary consumers, basically. They also feed off algae, but so they're also omnivores. They're found in freshwater environments such as ponds or rivers, and that means they feed off other organisms in this environment. So like water fleas or so yeah, they eat water fleas, stuff like that. Flatworms and algae. And other predators of the Hydra can include crustaceans or other aquatic insects such as the dragonfly. So a fossil record of the Hydra can date back to the Cenozoic era, which is around 66 million years ago. And so basically these Hydras would secrete chitinous exoskeletons which could have been preserved as fossils. So therefore they're able to be preserved like 66 million years ago. So even though they're super small, they secreted some sort of exoskeleton which was preserved in the rock. And this is a fossil Hydra to the left. It was found in northeast Mississippi. And that was my presentation. Thank you.